One, two, three.
Hello, hello, hello. If you don't know where that's from, I don't know if we can be friends. But welcome back to Cooking with Fee, where we go from the closing table to the kitchen table / you know the drill. The kitchen island. I almost didn't know the drill right there. If you saw my brain working, I almost forgot what I was supposed to say. But today we are making chocolate chip Oaties. Basically, oatmeal cookies. Why they gotta be difficult with the wording of this, no clue. I didn't write the book, so it is what it is. Alright, so this is actually gonna be a lot healthier than I was anticipating it to be, because firstly, we have no chocolate chips. I thought we had chocolate chips, we don't have chocolate chips. Secondly, we don't have regular flour. We have whole wheat flour. We have whole wheat flour instead of regular flour. So then there's that. Also, we have no milk. I also forgot that. So we're gonna use creamer. Because you know the first ingredient it says on here? Almond milk. Get your oatmeal. Get your brown sugar. Get you some creamer if you want to be like me. If you don't and you want to do it the right way. Milk. 1 egg. Cacao powder, right? Yes. Cacao powder. Flour. 4 ounces of softened milk. This is not actually soft, so I'm going to it'll soften by the time. In a bowl. So, first step, lightly grease 2 large baking sheets. Place the butter. We're not greasing the baking sheets. That can go some other time. We can preheat the oven though. So, to 350. Preheat your oven to 350 so it's already, hot and popping. Hot and popping, 350. Cool. All right, now place the butter and sugar in a bowl and beat together until light and fluffy. So butter and sugar in the bowl, beat until light and fluffy. Softened butter. Okay, so yeah, we're gonna warm this butter up with my hands because it's not soft. How much? 4 ounces. I completely forgot this book is ounces. So 1 tablespoon. 1 ounce is 2 tablespoons. I need 4 ounces. 2, 4, 6, 8. I need 8 tablespoons. All right, so we got our tablespoons. 8 tablespoons of sugar plus this butter that I'm trying to warm with my hands. Butter is in the microwave for did I put it for 30 seconds? I think 30 seconds. Now we're gonna do our 8 tablespoons of sugar. I really hope that doesn't melt. But if it does, I feel like that'll be easier to work with anyway. So 1, I hear you. 2, 8. There we go. Here we go. Get the butter. Oh yeah, the butter's soft. The butter is soft. Look at that. So put this in here. As we beat this, it's supposed to, I don't understand how they be getting these consistencies, but go for it. Place butter and sugar in a bowl and beat together until light and fluffy. Beat in the egg, then add the oats. Okay. I don't understand how we're supposed to get light and fluffy from this, but okay. So apparently this is what they mean by nice and fluffy. If not, it is what it is. Now, we're going to go ahead and add the egg. Okay, so I feel like this looks decent for sure. 3.5 ounces of rolled oats. So I don't really understand what the rolled part is of that, but we're just gonna do oats. So we're just gonna add 3.5. Now, why y'all doing this to me? So we'll do 7 of these. 1. It's probably way more than 7. That was probably way more than 3. Not 7. It was probably way more than what was needed, but who cares? All right, now we're gonna mix this together. What's the next step? Oh, and milk. Okay. Shake up our creamer. How much milk? 1 tablespoon. Okay. Right? Yeah. There you go. Mix this together till it looks nice. All right. vanilla extract. Then we're going to go into the flour, the cocoa powder, the cacao powder, and the baking powder. So let's add vanilla extract, 1 teaspoon of vanilla. Okay, so as I was saying before, how my relationship with sugar. So we all have our personal convictions. That's something that I believe. You don't have to believe that. Our relationship is both based off of the Bible as well as a spiritual relationship, right? So some things that are technically not a sin, if you have a personal conviction about it, it becomes a sin unto you, you know? Just because something is technically not a sin, if the Lord tells you, or if you feel a personal conviction about something, it's a sin. There you go. So for me, sugar my relationship with sugar has been a very toxic one, like a straight up toxic relationship, where I would be depressed and I would eat sugar to make me feel better, or I would just eat to eat. It's something that ran in my bloodline. Be aware, bloodline curses. Whether you want to believe they're real or not, they do affect you. So it is what it is. One of my bloodline curses, or one that tried to affect me, or did at one point, was how I consume food. And for me, it was how I consumed sweets. So I would binge, eat. And it was what was driving me to eat, which made it wrong. And so sugar is like crack. If you've never heard that analogy, sugar is crack, and you really can't tell me anything different. So I was straight up addicted. I genuinely gave up meat so I could eat sugar for the rest of my life and not get diabetes. And then after that, the Lord was like, go ahead and give sugar up, because no ma'am. So the Lord asked me to give up sugar maybe, I don't even know how long ago. And honestly, have I done well with it? No. I have not done well with it at all. I've had moments where I'll go long periods of time, no sugar, doing great. Then out of nowhere, binge. Then nothing for a long period of time. Then binge. Then nothing. Then binge. And it was like a very toxic cycle. And now I'm at the place where, okay, Lord, I don't want this desire anymore. I don't want to be driven towards sweets the way that I was in the past. How do I overcome this? Because I do love sweets. Let me change my words. In the past, I crave sugar. Naturally, when you're I'm having a craving for something, I don't crave salty stuff. I'll crave bread and sweets. That is what my brain is like. This is what you want. You want sugar or you want a piece of bread? Pick one, choose one, or maybe tuna fish. 3 options. If I'm craving something, sweets, tuna fish, or bread. That's literally it. And because of the nasty relationship I've had with sugar, that craving was coming from a place of addiction at some point. It just became, I'm scratching at myself, because I genuinely was addicted to sugar at a point. And so yeah, let's go ahead and add the flour before I continue. How much flour? 4.5 ounces. Okay, so that's 2, 4, 6, 8, 9 tablespoons. Got it. So again, was very addicted to sugar and eating sugar, and just a bad relationship with, and it wasn't, you can have a bad relationship with eating food. I didn't have a bad relationship with eating food. I've had a bad relationship with eating sugar, because I won't eat food throughout the day. Tell me to fast, I'll fast breakfast, lunch, and dinner, but tell me to be on a sugar fast, I'm going to struggle, right? So again, personal conviction. Sugar is not the enemy, nor is it's not really good for you at all, but it's also not a sin. I don't believe the Lord will send you to hell for having an ice pop. But me, on the other hand, I probably would have had, I'm snitching on myself, I would buy a Snicker. You know them oh my God, the Snicker ice creams, I would eat the entire box in a night. I could finish a pint. 9. Yeah. This is the last one. I can finish a pint. Like, it's the excess. Honestly, the excessiveness of eating all of the sugar, that's why it became wrong for me. So when you guys see me on here trying to make sweets healthy and stuff like that, that's really where my heart is, because I also learned that I was trying to give up sugar the way I wanted to give up sugar, not the way the Lord told me to give up sugar. So when I heard the Lord say no more sugar, I thought, okay, no more sugar, hands down, walk away, yada yada. I didn't get no clarification. I kind of honestly ignored him for a little bit, because I was like, whoa. You know good and well that this is my comfort food, and you just, right? Excuse me. This is so dry. All right. And baking powder. I didn't bring that out. Baking soda. I got baking soda. This is not baking soda. This is baking powder. 1 teaspoon. So, as I was saying. What was I saying? At first I was genuinely ignoring the Lord, which you have to know yourself is something I do. Something I've done, something that I'm trying my best not to do now, and in those moments, right now, I'm in a place where the Lord isn't speaking as much. I definitely want to hit myself over the head. So I'm like, girl, stop taking advantage of when the Lord talks to you and you just over here ignoring him. Like, that's disrespectful. But again, as I was saying, at first I just kind of ignored him. And then when I was done ignoring him because I was convicted that I was ignoring him, then I just was like, all right, go cold turkey. But every time I would go cold turkey, I would end up in the same cycle of cold turkey, binge like you're on my 600-pound life and you're literally only eating sugar. Like, that is it. And again, I never was I facing the root of the issue. I was just like, all right, give up sugar, cool beans. But not understanding the true meaning and true root of why the Lord had me give up sugar. My goodness. So, and honestly, again, I don't remember when the Lord told me to give up sugar. It was a while ago. This was like over a year ago, maybe even 2. And I've had off and on, and that's not healthy. Cacao powder, 1 tablespoon. Okay. 1 tablespoon of cacao powder. Tablespoon. Ooh, this stuff smells so good. Cacao powder. But what was I saying? Recently, been going through. We'll just leave it there. And the Lord, I was speaking with someone that's technically not an aunt, but is an aunt. And she asked me about how I was doing with my relationship with sugar. First of all, who asked that question? Who even remembers that I had a sugar problem other than my mom? Which for me was like, why are you asking me about sugar, ma'am? Like, especially now, I'm not even on I'm not on the high horse of, I haven't had any. I did have a Snickers bar yesterday, and I do plan on eating ice cream when I get home. Why are you asking me this? And so I'm honest with her. I don't lie. I'm like, of course you asked me this. I haven't been doing great. And she was like, oh, really? I was like, yeah, I haven't really been doing great. She works at the VA, I believe, yeah. And one of her patients, she said they found out that when your body naturally craves sweets, when it naturally craves sugar, it's because your body is on panic. Like, it's driven by anxiety. It's driven by panic. Those 2 words, anxiety and panic. Now, something you may not know about me, when I was growing up, I used to have panic attacks. They're not fun. They're not fun at all. And genuinely, I haven't had a panic attack, let me not lie, in a minute. I haven't had a panic attack in a minute, which I'm super grateful for. But when she said anxiety and panic, it rang with me of, I understand. Something that the enemy uses against me all the time is anxiety, fear, panic. And one thing, when you hear people say they're overthinkers, it's coming from a place of anxiety. It's coming from a place of panic, of always being like, this is what I feel like panic looks like. Because that's what I be feeling like. So she was like, her patient, it's so bad they have to give him medication for it. And she was telling me how he's on a diet of, you can have this, you can have 1 piece. Now, you can't have 2 pieces, you can da-da-da-da-da. So her speaking about that made me realize This man, first of all, his is way more severe than mine. I don't believe I need medication for it. I do have coping mechanisms. I've gone to counseling that I know how to help me get down if I ever do get to that place, as well as, prayer and the Lord, which has been very helpful. But if this man is on medication for this and they have a plan for him to get rid of it, and a plan for him, like it's a set diet where it's not completely taken out, but it's also not overwhelming him the way it once was, it made me realize, I've been trying to get rid of this addiction the way I wanted to get rid of it, like cold turkey, never touch it again. And the Lord's looking at me like, I never told you to do that. I never told you that that's how this was going to happen. You kind of did it on your own. And now, of course, I'm struggling with it because that's not what the Lord told me to do, right? That's not how the Lord wanted to get rid of it. So yeah, now what's next? And then the chocolate pieces. Place to circle. Okay, cool. Now, really quickly, I'm going to clean up, come back. I think, get our hands dirty, put them on a tray, then put them in there. I think we're done with everything here. So I'll be right back. Okay, so we've got our baking sheet. We're going to take some butter and stick it on there. Smear it around. Smear the butter. Smear the butter. Smear the butter. There we go. Chigo. 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 So you're going to take like a small spoon, not a big spoon, small spoon of the dough. Roll it, put it down, squish it with a fork. That's what the instructions say. So roll it, put it down. I'll squish it with a fork at the end. But basically, understanding, I was trying to give up sugar my way. How I thought like, this is how it's going to happen. Yada, 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 cool beans. But in reality, I was never addressing the fact that, I'm craving this because secretly I'm afraid of almost everything. Or let me speak by. Secretly, I was afraid of almost everything. Afraid of the fear of failure. I would have dreams and I would see the spirit of fear laughing at me, like genuinely laughing at me. And what was so crazy was in the dream, I wasn't afraid. So fully, again, fear is not of the Lord. The Lord has not given us the spirit of fear, but power, love, and a sound mind. In my dream state, I could literally see this spirit looking at me, living within me, laughing at me. And I was not afraid, but in the dream, I'm not afraid. But when I would wake up, I was living in fear, like genuinely living in fear. And I was coping with it with eating sugar. Now, how do we get rid of this? I was so focused on, Lord, don't take away my scratch. Like, don't take away. That's helpful, okay? Do you know how loud fear gets? How loud panic gets? Really, at one point, I had addressed fear. Not gonna lie, I addressed fear, and I'm like, bump you, fear. I'm not scared of nothing. And then I had to realize fear and panic, two different things. Fear and panic, two different things. My brain, and then also understanding what panic looked like for me. Not all panic looked like a panic attack. Some panic came and comes in the way of extremes, where the situation is not that big at all. And understanding some of this comes from childhood trauma. You do have to understand that. I went through counseling to understand, okay, some of this anxiety, you do need to know where the root is. So knowing that, okay, some of this I won't deal with when when certain parts of me and my heart are healed. But understanding that, for me, understanding a way that panic showed up was in extremes. Something very small could happen, but I'm reading into it. Panic in my mind, a huge thing. The way my brain speaks and goes 1,000,000 times an hour, and we're on this page, but my brain is on that page, and it won't shut up. And that page is like the end world. The end of the world is happening on that page. So I'm here in the present, but my mind would take me, the spirit of panic would be in my mind, taking me 10 pages ahead of where the Lord has me and saying, look what's going to happen 10 pages ahead, destruction, destruction, destruction. And I'm now here on this page reacting to destruction, 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 where nothing has been destroyed. And the Lord is looking at me like, sweetheart, no, 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 no. And he's like, no, 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 no. And I'm like, destruction, destruction, destruction. And I'm eating sweets trying to cope the fact that I'm living in panic that's 10 pages away. And this genuinely like followed me in every aspect of life. In friendships, it followed me in relationships. It followed me in work, in school, every aspect of my life. These things were following me. And I'm not gonna lie, still follow me. At one point, it was like I had taken 20 steps back. And that was this year. That was this year. I felt like I took 20 steps back and I was so stuck. I'm very grateful I'm not stuck now. But it just shows that these fears are not something that you're going to pray once and it's going to go away. Or I'm going to stop eating sweets and it's just going to go away. Or I'm just going to stop eating sweets because the Lord wants me to stop eating sweets. And I'm going to completely ignore the fact that my body is craving this thing to stay on my anxiety high. To stay on the anxiety high. Change the way we speak. It is not my anxiety. The spirit of fear is not a part of me. The Lord has not given me the spirit of fear, but of power, love, and a sound mind. Gems. Drop gems on them. So, there's that. We're going to squish them now. I have a whole bunch still in here, but we're going to squish them. I say all of that to say, when you see me trying to healthify sweets, please know, because it's a battle for me. It's, okay, I don't want to say give and take because I'm not giving to the enemy, nor am I giving into fear or anxiety, but I have to put limits on myself. I have to have boundaries. Understanding you have to have boundaries in some areas, especially when personal conviction comes in, because technically, now gluttony is a sin. Don't get me wrong. I was participating in gluttony alongside that, but when it wasn't gluttonous and it was just, I had a Snickers bar here and I do feel bad about eating that Snickers bar because I know what drove me to eat that Snickers bar, understanding how to deal with that. So we're going to put this in the oven. I've squished them all down. They're really tiny and really cute. I really like that. Putting them in the oven for 15 minutes. Yeah, for 15 minutes. And then we'll come back. We'll try them. We'll wrap this conversation up and that will be the episode. So I will be right back. Stick them in the oven. 15 minutes, 350. You should have preheated your oven. If you didn't, who's not following instructions? You. All right. So they're out of the oven. They came off the pan super easy. They're super soft. I'm actually really excited. Look at that. They smell good. Smell like I added cinnamon. The creamer was cinnamon, I think. So let's taste test. These are good. And they did not need the, what didn't I put in here? The chocolate. Didn't need chocolate chips at all. Will be limiting myself to 2 cookies. To wrap up kind of what I was talking about. These are so good. But to wrap up what I was talking about. My relationship with sugar is strange and is growing. And the Lord is molding me. And I'm really truly asking the Lord to take away that urge. To take away that I'm really asking the Lord to change my palate so I don't crave that anymore. But when the Lord asks us to give him something, it's not ever just because he doesn't want you to have it, you know? God wants you to have all that is good. He will never withhold something good from you. And if he is withholding something that you deem is good from you, there is always a reason. Always make sure you're asking the Lord, okay, I give it to you. May I understand what's going on? Understand why. If I had originally gone back and when the Lord said give up sugar, if I didn't fight and buck against the fact that he wanted it in the first place, and I asked, okay, Lord, like here it is, why? Like what's going on? Then the Lord would have been able to reveal to me, because you're only truly going after it, you're only truly desiring it this way, this addictive way, because of anxiety, because of panic, because of fear. And I want to take panic, fear, and the rest of this away, but I can't do that if you're self-medicating with sugar, if you're self-medicating with ice cream, because it feels and because it tastes delicious, right? So, also, not running before the Lord when he asks you for something. asking the Lord, okay, well, how do you want me to give this to you? How do you want me to present this to you? Because you can't really just present anything. When they were still in the time of sacrifices, there was a way that the animal had to be prepared. So you have to prepare, Lord, how do you want me to sacrifice this? How do you want me to fast this? How do you want me to give this to you? Asking the Lord questions, because this is a relationship. It's not a dictatorship. The Lord is not dictating to you this, and you have no say of asking a question. He's a loving parent, a loving father, a loving husband that knows what's best for you. And you have to trust that. So this is my last cookie. Thanks for watching Cooking with Me, where we go from the clothing table to the kitchen table / the kitchen island. These buzz, and I feel like they're healthy. If they're not healthy, don't be quiet. Like, just shush. But me back here, same day, same time for a different recipe. I'm out, homies.
1, 2, 3.